out of a conflict between yourselves and Metis. You waited at their house until Aethra showed up. There was more talking. Aethra convinced Metis and Evander to stay in the house while you guys went and talked to Eleusis to try to figure out what to do. So he pulled Eleusis out of his very important council meeting with Ludnus and the Starosta and various other important people in the city. Had another important conversation. He asked you guys for your input, and you eventually convinced him to talk to Metis and like ask her to give herself up, basically, rather than his other idea, which was to like convince Ludinus to just leave and sort of look the other way on this one, which he was pretty sure he could do if he like owed Ludinus a favor. And then you guys went back to Melidora's house. You hung out there for a little while until she got back. You guys all had dinner. I don't think I'm missing anything. You just kind of talked about stuff. You didn't tell Sahar what happened, so she doesn't know anything. And then everybody ended up going to bed. You played cards. Melodora and Kalina went out for a walk. All of the sleepers went to bed. All of the people who have to sleep for 8 hours went to bed. And then Adakora had a conversation with his mom after she got back. And I think we ended with you just sitting in your room, not calling your Algentrust contact. So it's kind of up to yeah, and I know I kind of left it open like if you were going to call her or not, but it's totally up to you. She has not tried to call you at all today, so
I'm not gonna do it that night.
okay, great. So we will just skip to the morning. Oh, and you made plans today, day 4 in Busayastiel, to go and visit Adakor's grandparents. And you're going to bring Eleni with you. Eleni and Sahar.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you were kidding last week, but you sort of said something about like going to see Eleni before everyone else got up to invite her to your grandparents' house.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to go invite her.
Yeah. Are you going to do that like
Um,
right at dawn when everyone else is still asleep? All of your human friends, human and
I'm
half-orc friends.
at a reasonable elf time.
Yeah, that's a reasonable elf time. As soon as the sun comes up, probably even before that in the winter, the elves are up and about. Depending on what they did the night before, I guess. If they were like out all night and they need to get their 4 hours first thing in the morning, then sure. But that's like a polite elf time. If the sun is up, you can go to an elf's house.
Yeah. Yeah, so I will do that. I don't think I've actually been in her house. I just dropped her off there.
Yep, you did. Yeah, you guys did not actually go inside, but you remember where it is because you know the city pretty well. You're God. No.
You promised.
Oh no. God, they would probably like bring you to the grandparents because Despina is a druid and could probably bring you back to life.
Oh my god.
It's like, who's the most powerful magic
Oh,
user
no.
we know?
No.
Adekora's grandma. And you wake up in the grandparents' house like, what just happened? Okay, yeah, you get up and your mother and Kalina are downstairs eating breakfast, just sort of talking. Melidora's like half ready to go out. She has like some of her armor on. Um, and they stop talking when you come downstairs. Very like we were having a private conversation. But they're, happy to see you.
Don't mind me. I'm on my way out. I'll probably be back. The others are up.
All right. Where are you headed? Says your mother.
Weird not to have a reason to lie about why I'm leaving this.
There's absolutely no.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Right, yeah. It's just habit. It's habit from when you were a teen.
Yeah. I'm going nowhere and seeing no one. Why do you ask?
I mean, you don't have to tell me, she says. It's not like you live here anymore. I was just curious. She seems amused.
No, I do tell her that I'm going to
Okay.
see if Eleni wants to come. I don't think she
Okay.
met Eleni, but she's heard what we were doing. So
Yeah, you guys told her about Eleni, but I don't think they have met, no.
yeah.
All right, have fun.
I'll try.
Okay. God, I should have thought of this. I have to dig out the. I definitely gave Eleni's parents names just in case, but they're buried somewhere in the notes. In her section? No. Okay.
Check out my Foley work. I knock on the door.
God, I can't. I have too many session notes now. I don't remember what's in them. I have to like open them up in where I vaguely think they might be. Oh, I changed this character's name. Wow. Okay, you knock on the door.
Yes.
There's like lights on inside. You could tell people are awake. Sorry, I'm just moving some notes around. Okay, and yeah, when you knock on the door, somebody comes to open it, and you see a younger elven girl. Looks a lot like Eleni, but Eleni's like your age, maybe a little older. This kid is like maybe 12 if they were a human. But she has the same kind of dark hair and like golden brown skin as Eleni, and she has a round face and two long braids. Hello?
Hi, I'm here to see Eleni. Is she home?
Oh, sure. She just like runs off.
Yeah, like kids do.
And you hear her like yelling, Eleni, somebody's here to see you. I don't know him. And Eleni like comes to the door. Her hair is it a suitor? Yeah, exactly. There's a boy that I don't know at the door. Yeah, Eleni comes down. She kind of looks like she just got up. She's wearing like a long, like not a bathrobe, but like a dressing gown kind of thing, and her hair is all down, and she's like eating some breakfast. She's like holding some toast. Oh, Adakora! Hi, come in.
Hey, how's it going? I'll go in.
Good. How have
I
you been? I
got your
haven't seen you.
sister.
Yes. Uh, yes, that's my sister. That's Sophia.
Sophia. She seems nice.
She's,
In all
she's
5 seconds.
she's fine.
Why am I here? Brain freeze.
Do you want some food or something?
I'm fine. I was actually coming to ask you if you wanted to come see my grandparents today. We're all going over there. I'm introducing everybody else, so if you're not busy,
Oh, I'd love to.
great,
I don't have any classes or anything today, so
perfect.
that's good. That's perfect.
Like the DM planned it.
Yep, exactly.
Ophelia will be so pleased that she
Mm-hmm.
won't have to talk.
Yep. What time do you think?
We decide like whether it was going to be at a specific meal.
Not really. I think they just kind of said you could show up.
Yeah. Uh, hmm. How does lunch sound?
That's great.
Great. It's a plan. Um,
You you guys are kind of in like the front room and you can hear Sophia sort of talking to somebody quietly in the other room. And Eleni's you can assume are Eleni's parents kind of come out from the kitchen area. Oh, hi. Um,
Hi.
hi, Mom and Dad. This is Adakora. He's one of the people who helped me get home, kept me from getting eaten by boars and spiders and things. He's from the
Bless you.
Cobalt Soul, but he grew up here.
Pleasure to meet you. You just
Eleni's
saw my life
parents,
story. It's cool.
yeah. Eleni's parents are like very polite. They shake your hand and stuff. Um, they kind of look like her. She just sort of looks like a cross between both of them, basically. But and you vaguely remember Eleni telling you that her parents were like hunters and stuff, and you can kind of tell like there's like the stuff around the house is sort of indicative of that. There's like a corner where someone has clearly been making arrows,
Nice.
and there's like some quivers hanging up next to the wall and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's like some stuff that you see your mom has lying around too. Um, but yeah, and they both have that kind of build as well. Eleni's like the nerd of her family. But they introduce themselves. Their names are Aris and Maya. Well, thank you for getting our daughter home safely.
You're welcome. She helped out too.
Yeah, I think I shot something. I think I hit something at least once.
Yeah. Every little bit helps.
Are you two going somewhere later? Says her mother.
My grandparents would like to be friends.
That's nice. Who are your grandparents?
Do I remember my grandfather's name? I remember Christina. Um, I don't think I wrote them all down when we met them because I had the pinned message from you.
Yeah, it's in our chat, I think. His name is Solon.
Okay. Do you know Solon and Despina?
Oh yes, of course. So um Eleni kind of her eyes get a little wide and she's like, your grandmother's is Despina, the druid.
Yep.
Oh, I've never met her, but I've heard a lot about her from Althea. They're good friends. Yeah, I know.
Well, you can meet her today and find out if she has any embarrassing stories about your teacher.
Oh, I hope she does.
I'm sure they got up to some crazy shit.
I think they knew each other back in the old city.
They've had a lot of time to get into crazy shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let
Well,
you guys. I don't want
yeah.
to disturb your breakfast.
No, it's all right. I'll see you later.
All right. Do you
Should
want to
I
meet at my mom's place, or do you want to meet there, or should we pick you up? It doesn't really matter to me.
I'll just meet you there. That's all right.
Right? Sounds
Just
good.
you just give her directions. She knows where to
Yeah.
go.
And then you take a left at the tree.
Yeah, it's like very
And then right at the
tree-based directions.
church.
All right. So you head back home. Um, Helena and Melidor are still in the kitchen. Here,
Now I will.
have some breakfast. So you're going to see your grandparents today then?
That's the plan. Not letting anybody chicken out.
That's good. I don't know. Well, maybe I should wait until your friends are awake. Although I might have to leave before they wake up. Um, last night I mentioned that this whole situation with the Starosta was going to be coming to an end fairly soon.
You did. Any
Well,
developments?
yes, I'm now allowed to tell you that they've caught someone. anybody I knew. Not really sure what the motive was, to be honest, but I don't know. Ultimately, whoever found this out was not anyone in the Crown's Guard or the Watchkeepers. So we don't really know the details, but the Ring of Three seems to think that this is the right person. So I suppose I trust them, if nothing else.
How does Starosta and the Crown's Guard feel about it?
I think the Crown's Guard are about as perplexed as we are, but Golam isn't going to say anything about it. The Starosta, I assume, knows more than I do. But as I sort of suspected, well, I don't know if you heard about this. It was kind of all over town yesterday, but someone from the capital did show up.
Yeah, we heard.
Yes. So I think the whole yeah. Our hope of dealing with this locally is, well, it's not going to happen. Um, the Cerberus Assembly member is going to take the culprit back to the city, to the capital. They say because she attacked one of the Crown's direct representatives. So we're not going to be allowed to deal with it here, the local court system.
That's a shame.
Yes, well, I think we're all going to be expected to just forget about it. Or at least forget about the why and how it happened. We don't want us to forget that they caught this person quickly. They're not rubbing it in too much, but there is going to be a public announcement today.
Mm. Do you think the Cerberus Assembly will come back after it's dealt with?
I don't really know anything about them. I hope not. Lucis DeWin doesn't seem overly concerned about that, is all I can figure out. At least that's what I didn't actually talk to him. That's what Ilias told me. So hopefully we'll be free of that sort of interference for the time being. Not that that will change much else.
Still, it's something.
It could be worse, I suppose.
If it's not a step forward, it's at least not a step backward.
That's true. And I think if this had gone unsolved for too long, it would only have escalated. I was a little afraid that when they found this person, they were just going to, I don't know, publicly execute them or something. It's not something the Empire's done here before, but
Would have been grim.
yes, but it's not happening. So at least there's that. Anyway, I have to go. I have to be there.
Stay strong.
Just going to keep an eye on things.
Breaths.
Did you say something? I cut off a little bit.
Oh. I said deep breaths.
Oh, okay. Right. She has like all her armor on by this point. She's kind of ready to go. So she hugs you. She hugs Felina, and she heads out.
I soberly eat my breakfast. How many hours are left until?
Not many. It's pretty close at this point. They're gonna get up soon. Sahar gets up like fairly early, I think.
Hmm.
Um so yeah, a little while later Sahar comes downstairs. The other two girls, I don't know, do you wake up at that or
Yeah, I'll go down to.
Reluctantly, I will wake up.
okay. So yeah, Sahar comes down, the other two come down a little bit later. Kalina's just kind of making more food in silence, looking solemn.
It hasn't even been like 24 hours since the hell day. So I will give I will hug Antimony when she shows up and try not to make it look like there's any special reason for it.
Yeah, I mean nobody's like surprised that you're hugging your sister.
Maybe they should be.
I mean Ophelia maybe is, but she's not going to say anything, I assume, since you're trying to keep this whole thing on the down low.
I just wanted to look casual and not like I'm relieved you're alive.
Okay, Kalina gives you all a bunch of food, and then she goes upstairs to move all of your stuff to one side so that she can get some work done.
Good news, Eleni's coming.
That's great.
Yay.
Thinking lunchtime. Whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean if they're going to be feeding us, we don't want to go right after we eat breakfast.
Yeah, lunch sounds good.
Practical thinker.
What do you want to do until then? You're really leaving this whole thing alone now, huh?
Well, oh, I guess I better tell you what my mom said.
What'd
I
she
will
say?
pass on what my mother said.
Okay. Oh, so you're okay. Sahara knows about the yeah, she knows everything up until what happened yesterday, basically, because
Yeah.
she helped interrogate that guy. Um, oh, so those little bits of information you got her ended up paying off somehow, I guess.
I guess.
We're
There's
actually very good detectives.
really a Cerberus assembly member in Visayas Teal right now.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yep. It's a little spooky.
Yeah, that's serious. Well, maybe they were the ones who figured it out. Wizard shit. I mean, we know it was a wizard who was responsible, right? Or
Was a
some
wizard
other
spell.
magic user, some arcane spellcaster. I don't know the
It's
difference.
really not my area. Yeah, no.
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah, we've done our bit. Such is the life of a humble adventurer, etc.
Kind of surprised you're not more relieved.
I mean, she told me this like half an hour ago. So maybe it'll sink in.
Are you gonna go watch?
The last time we went to watch a public announcement, it didn't go great. What is I'm on the fence on this one, guys.
God.
It wasn't conscious.
It's okay. Hilda's just subconsciously burned into your skull.
That's true.
Sahar's just eating, kind of looking at you guys like, well,
I'm leaving it open to the other two to contribute thoughts. Are we gonna watch this public announcement?
Mm, yeah, I mean, we have not had very good, um, we haven't had a great track record with public announcements.
aren't the archivists gonna want to know what happened? They gonna be disappointed you weren't there?
This?
You know, the monks.
Oh, our
Your
I was trying to think
your
of what-
library monks.
right, the people we work for. That's a good point. I mean, they did tell us it wasn't technically our job, but I guess if the expositor isn't here already, they may want us to catch them up.
They couldn't have gotten here by now, could they?
They would have to be pretty fast, but just by themselves. I don't know. How short could you how short could you make the week trip if
Not
you were
not
alone?
a single day, probably,
Yeah.
which is about how long it's been.
It feels like so much longer.
A little more than a day, because I think you talked to Torkel yesterday, and he said they had left like super early in the morning yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's been a little over 24 hours since they left.
What time is the speech thing?
I'm Sunday.
Soon, probably. Melodora told you it's like this morning. They're getting it over with fast.
We might as well go. What else are we gonna do? Sit here? Ignore our existence? Maybe if we go, we'll die, and then we won't have to go to the grandparents.
First of all, you love sitting places and ignoring existence. That's what you do 5 days a week at the Soul.
No, it's not. Maybe I'm branching out. You don't know. Are you not going to encourage me spreading my wings and going to a potentially dangerous murder place?
Well,
Sahar's
because you're
going.
saying that, it makes me want to discourage you.
Oh wait, no. Sahar maybe doesn't want to go. And Timony's going. So you
Going
might as well
where?
go too. To the speech thing.
I mean, I'll come with if you go. I'm a little bit curious.
You're full of contradictions all the time. But that is acceptable. Yeah, Sahara and I are going, so like if you two don't want to go, then whatever, you can be boring and lazy.
Look, I scared a man for this. I kind of want to know what happened.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Nobody knows about that, right?
Nope.
Well, we didn't tell my mom.
Good.
Your name is cleared.
Oh,
Curious too. Let's go.
Yeah.
you say your name is cleared, and you like Sahar's face like visibly sort of sinks. Like she kind of gets this.
Sorry.
Like she was like kind of kidding around with you guys, and like now legitimately looks like deeply upset. Not at you, but like she
Yeah,
sort
she
of
could be upset with me.
withdraws.
That was a careless remark.
But yeah, you guys all sort of get ready to go. Is anyone bringing any weapons? Sahar actually asks. She asks you out of chorus. She kind of mutters to you like, "Are your grandparents going to be offended if I bring a sword to their house?"
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I really don't think so.
I've noticed not everybody walks around armed here.
That's true, but they raised my mother, so I think
That's
it'll be
fair.
fine.
All right. She does the same thing where she has the sword like hidden behind her cloak, like strapped to her back.
Well, she didn't leave my weapons at Evander and Metta's house.
Why? Wait, what? You did?
I think I disarmed there.
Yeah, but you would have taken them with you when you left, I
Yeah.
assume.
I didn't say it, but I
You did not have to say it.
Good.
Don't worry.
That's good.
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you took your weapons with you. Um, yeah, but yeah, Zahar like leaves her shield, her armor off, all of it. But yeah, she brings the sword. It's just sort of hidden. Okay, so you guys head out of the house and go sort of hang around in the clearing in the center of town. It's not really the same mood as the last public announcement you went to. There are more people hanging around kind of at the beginning, but it's not as crowded. It doesn't get as crowded as the other one did. Like fewer people are coming to see this. Maybe because it's earlier in the day, maybe because it's a little like scarier and like I don't know. You're not really sure, but there are a lot of people standing around just sort of talking quietly, looking. Some of them look confused or curious. Some of them look sort of glum. Um, and everyone, you don't want to get shanked. Everyone is there. There are already some people up near the stage area. There are a bunch of guards of both sets of guards. Melidor is not up there. She's kind of walking around, talking to different guards, like posted up around the square. But the Captain Ilias is up there. The Starost is up there. The Watchmaster, the entire like Dwendalian town council, the Ring of Three. A couple of people you don't recognize. The Righteous Brand Soldiers. And you also see standing near the center of this group, Metis and Ludnus Deleth. Yeah. Okay. Why don't you all make me a perception check?
Um, 13.
14.
15.
Wow. Incredible. Okay. Yeah, you all notice this. Are you guys kind of at the back, at sort of the edge of the crowd? Where are you standing?
I feel like I would want to try to hang around the back, yeah.
Okay, so you guys are kind of lurking in the back. The square is pretty packed now, but it is very quiet. People are talking to each other, but like the mood is very sort of subdued. And as people start to move around near the front, like some of them are going up onto the stage area, maybe getting ready to talk. You are looking up near the front, and all of you notice Evander. He's standing near the front of the crowd, just sort of, dressed normally. You can't see his face very well, but he's just kind of standing and watching. And he seems to be with an older man who's very tall and thin and a little bit gaunt. And yeah, they're standing together watching this without speaking. What is that? His name Trent? What is that a reference to in what I said?
You just didn't say his name, so I was guessing at who he was.
Oh, the man. Oh, okay. I was like, no, the man is an elf. He's an elf man.
Nobody we've seen before.
No. He resembles Evander a little. They have like similar hair and skin tone. And kind of similar facial features. Just like sort of thin, like sharp features. But this guy looks a little more like unhealthily gaunt than Evander does.
Do we know about the rest of the family? Or was like were Evander and Metis like orphaned when their mother left?
No, you know that their father is dead. I don't know who told you that. Somebody, probably Eleusis. Yeah, their father has been dead for a while. Like he died in some sort of accident or something. And not Metis, Karia, their mother, has a brother who they lived with for a while when they were still kids. And he is the one who like convinced the jeweler to let them use the roof of his shop. So you can like guess that's who this is. You've never met him, you don't actually know his name, but you know they have an uncle who was at least vaguely aware of their plan.
So that would explain the family resemblance.
Yes. Yeah, so you see them standing near the front of the crowd. The Ring of Three and the Starosta and Metis and Daleth are all now standing up on top of the platform. Amra, who's one of the Ring of Three members, you haven't really like interacted with her yet because you were mostly interacting with Eleusis, but she's a very old elven woman. Adakor, you know that she is actually like a master architect. She was trained in Malaismere, and helped like design and build some of the largest buildings in Visayas Teal and like kind of plan the layout and stuff. She's like one of the minds behind the whole design of the city. Yeah, she's very old, very well respected, just like the other Ring of Three members. And she goes up to the podium. That's the word I'm looking for. The like podium kind of thing, and starts talking. And her voice is magically magnified. You can hear it perfectly from back where you are. And she says, she just kind of makes a very straightforward, somber speech about the fact that they have found the person responsible for the attack on the Starosta. The Starosta is, made a full recovery. And the person responsible is being taken back to Rexentrum to face just their actions. It's just like kind of the most straightforward thing. And Yeah, Ludinus and Metis are just kind of standing there. He's like standing behind her, and she has like some kind of like hand bindings, but like nothing very intense. She's just like wearing handcuffs, maybe, and she's just standing there looking, you know, almost like her face is almost totally blank. And that's really it. It's like a quick summary of what happened. And then you see Ludinus put his hand on Metis's shoulder, and they both just vanish. I mean, he's a wizard. Oh, you mean the hand on the shoulder thing? Yeah,
Yes. I
that's
don't
the
think
creepy
we're
part.
supposed to,
I was like,
touch anyone.
no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, and everyone just kind of, the people on the stage area start coming down to the stage, and everyone else like begins to disperse a moment later, kind of slowly and quietly.
That was exciting.
Well, nothing seems to have gone horribly wrong, even though we were here. Okay. Pick them out.
I mean, like, for all we know, the Ring of Three have, like, gotten slivers just now walking across the stage. That's kind of a bad thing. And that's because we're here.
Pretty sure they're all wearing shoes, Ophelia.
So, splinters can be strong enough to go through shoes. Especially if they're elves and all they wear is, like, soft, like, leather shoes. Sorry, Adakara.
What?
Nothing.
That woman is clearly wearing boots.
So maybe they have socks. Maybe their socks had a splinter in them.
Right. It's no use arguing with you.
That's right. I win all of the arguments because I'm the smartest and the best and I don't know. Do Evander and what's his face also leave slowly?
They stay up there for a little while. Elusis kind of takes them to one side and like is talking to them a little bit.
Are they like trying to be secretive about it? Or are they just
Not
like,
really.
yeah?
No, they just, I mean, they're in full view. They just like go off to the side away from the rest of the group. I wonder who she was. They really didn't say anything about her.
I don't know, some weirdo.
She looks young. I mean, I don't actually know how elf ages work. She's definitely older than
She
me,
is
but
young. She is young.
uh,
It's light on the details.
It's not like the public really cares, so whatever.
Be curious if I was them. I mean, I am curious, but I guess we'll never know.
We sure won't.
I mean, if Melodora doesn't know, nobody's going to tell us.
Maybe she like had a beef with someone. Maybe the Starosta.
Yeah, I mean everybody seems to have a beef with the Starosta. He kind of sucks, I think.
That's what it sounds like.
We could ask him about it.
The Starosta?
Yeah.
I'd rather chew on
Yeah.
nails.
I'm not talking to the Starosta. You're welcome to.
Maybe save that for the tail end of the trip.
In case you have to leave town quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe he knows and just doesn't want to make the details public. Maybe it's embarrassing.
I hope it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Maybe she has like embarrassing love letters.
Do they send you to the Capitol for that?
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I don't know. Maybe she. Well, no, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why would she blackmail him and then try to kill him? That seems silly.
Hmm.
Well, now that all of our tasks for the today are done, we should just go home. Go back to sleep. And I guess hang out until it's time to go back to Rexentrum.
I'm curious to know where you think you're going to go to sleep during Kalina's workday.
Yeah, there's a lot of hammering going on up there.
There's stools, I can put them together. And it's not like I'm unfamiliar with trying to sleep in a loud environment.
Really?
Yeah.
Are your roommates carpenters?
No.
No.
Your roommates are monk librarians.
Is the training at the Cobalt Soul just really loud?
Yeah.
It's a library.
Yeah, right.
It's a library with style.
You go to the library to sleep?
Yeah, sometimes.
That actually sounds kind of nice. I bet it's very peaceful in there.
Sometimes. Sometimes Adakor is in there, so, you know, not so much.
But I'm not loud.
I don't believe you. You're plenty loud when you're around me.
That's by choice.
That doesn't change the fact that you're not quiet.
if you think you're going to trick me into saying, watch how quiet I can be, and then we have a quiet game, I'm not 8, so it's not going to work.
But you're like 80, right? Or 180?
Just kind of put my chin on my hand and look at her.
That's close enough. I don't know what elf years are like.
Yeah, you could be either one, and I would have no idea.
Yeah.
We should probably get out of here. Everyone else is leaving.
Yes.
We don't want to be questioned again.
No. No, I do not want to have to go through that again.
We hightail it.
Okay. Yeah, you leave with like the last sort of stragglers of the crowd. Evander and the man, they leave not long after you guys. You kind of see them finish talking to Eluzis as you were going out, and they head in like a different direction from you. But yeah, you get back to the house. Do you guys want to do anything before you go to grandparents?
Hmm. I know I
Fine.
want to take Evander too. I think if we were like, hey, do you want to come to Roxenthrone? He might
We
say
can-
yes.
Yes, we can go rescue his sister. You know, now that she's hopefully gotten whatever information she wanted to get from being arrested.
Wait a second. Ophelia, you have sending now. I know this because you mentioned it. You can send to Metis at any time.
Who mentioned this? When? When did they mention this?
Adakura doesn't know this, but I know this.
Yes.
You can send to Metis at any time and find out how she's doing. You can send to a shell. We can find out if we got a shell killed.
Oh my god.
God.
Imagine you
That's
just like send and it just bounces back and you're like, oops.
ooh. That's happened on Critical Role a few times. Like Jester will send to someone and they just don't answer, and you're like, are they dead? Are they asleep? Are they astral projecting? Like, what are they doing?
Rim. I just think that's something you should keep in mind. Okay.
Is their mouth tied up? You don't know. Yeah. God.
I think you should do it immediately because I really want to know what the shell's up to. But anyway.
You should become a cleric and get 5 levels in it. And then you can cast sending.
That's so much work just to cast sending, which is
Oh.
obviously the only advantage.
Right, yeah.
You could
Fairies
just
don't really do anything else.
Yeah,
You could
Yeah.
kind of
die,
useless.
and your next character could be a cleric.
It's
and
like a
you could start at
notoriously
level 5.
underpowered class. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have good features or bonuses.
Yeah.
God, one of these days I want to play with like an all cleric group where we just all have different subclasses because there's so much versatility.
I wouldn't even know what to say to a shell.
Hey, are you dead?
Remember us? We caught you and sent you to jail and possibly torture for 10 years.
It hasn't been 10 years.
Are you like free now, or like are you dead?
It's been like 2 weeks, maybe.
It's been longer than 2 weeks.
Okay, maybe, yeah, but it hasn't been 10
That was
years.
only our second adventure. We went to
Yeah, that
Bloomville
was
after
like
that. We traveled here. We've had some downtime.
that was like the weird extension of the first adventure
Yeah.
where I was like, I'm gonna bring the kobolds back.
Well, we bypassed the entire first encounter. So.
Yep.
I think that we should send to the kobolds because I miss them.
Yeah, find out how they're doing.
Yeah. Challenge them to a game of poker with rocks.
God. Ugh, I love the kobolds and their little like commune. Their cave commune.
It works for them.
It does. They're very much happier now.
Elo. Elo was the kobold who gave us her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's send to Elo. I like how Izzy and I are making plans for who you should send to.
Yeah, you could definitely demand money for that. Like,
all the stuff. Goodness.
I only have 2 of these a day.
It's gonna be your fault if we
Cough
can't
up.
like revive you.
Well, that's true. You can buy Revivify diamonds with that money.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It's
for a
too
good
bad I'm poor
cause.
and don't have 2 jobs. What were you saying?
Yoo-hoo.
What?
Which you?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
I wasn't saying anything.
You said something and then I also said something, so I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said it's for a good cause.
Keeping them alive. Okay, so that conversation was like mostly not in character, was it? I don't know. Did you tell Sahar all of that? Like,
No, I mean,
Hopefully not.
how much of that?
know that I don't know that Ophelia has sending.
Okay.
So none of that was an
I see,
actual
I see.
conversation.
Yeah. I suppose it would be sporting of me to mention it. But when have I ever told anybody anything that could benefit us?
Oh, man. Okay, so you guys are just hanging out at the house. You get cleaned up so that you don't look gross when you go to visit the grandparents.
Yeah. Back to the bathhouse.
Oh, fuck yeah. Go take a bath. Get your clothes washed too. Or, prestidigitationed.
You're not going to be tortured. You're going to take one look at my grandma and you're going to wish you were a druid.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be tortured. People can be cool, but if they start asking me questions, they don't become very cool for a long time.
Pretend you only know sign language. You shouldn't do that, but it would be really funny.
I can't lie. I don't know how to. Besides, she would cast like comprehend languages at me, and then that would all kind of, you know.
God. Yeah, they're just pretending they don't speak your language. Oh my god. That would be very funny. I feel like Despina would be very confused, but she would probably also think it was funny. Okay, so you go to the bathhouse, you get clean, you get your clothes washed, which is good because you guys don't have a ton of changes of clothing. I'm sure you brought several because this was going to be a long trip, but it's nice to get some of them cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can go back. It's probably about time to head over to the grandparents now.
Yay.
And I don't want to be late because I don't want to strand Lenny there alone. So.
That's true, yeah.
God, yeah, Elena's gonna be so on time. Okay, yeah, you head over to the house. And Antimony, you've been there before, but Sahar and Ophelia have not. It's like similar in construction to Melidora's house. It's a little bit bigger. It just has like a lower level and an upper sort of loft level, but the upper level in particular is larger than the one at Melidora's place. And yeah, pretty much as soon as you head to the door, Eleni comes walking up from the other direction, and she waves at you all.
Long time no see.
Hello, all of you. Have you been having a good time? I know, yeah. Have you all been having a good time in the city?
Yes.
Hasn't before.
God. Right, yeah. Eleni looks like a little bit done up. Like her hair is braided in sort of a crown situation, which is like her typical hairstyle on the trip, but she's like braided some ribbons into it, like a green ribbon. And she's wearing a white dress. It's just like very cute. It's like a long sleeved dress with the full skirt, and the sleeves are kind of wide, and like it has like a fitted top, and there's some embroidery on it.
You look really nice.
Thanks.
All right, shall we? We're here.
All right. Yeah, you can knock on the door.
More of my incredible Foley work.
Yep. And yes, your grandmother opens the door. You see Despina, who is an elven woman with some visible signs of aging, which means she's probably quite old. She has dark brown skin. She looks a lot like Melodora. And her hair's in braids that are kind of braided along her head, and then like they come down they're all braided into another braid over her shoulder. And they're starting to gray. Her hair's starting to gray a little bit. But yeah, she smiles at all of you. It's like, oh, good. We were expecting you. And like ushers you all in.
Great. And I'm letting you know, you've met Antimony. This is Ophelia, Sahar, Lenny.
It's very good to meet you all. Why don't you all come upstairs? Your mother stopped by earlier and told me when you were planning to come.
Oh, that's good of her. I prefer surprises.
Well, we wouldn't have had quite as many snacks if it had been a surprise. Yeah, you all head upstairs. It's kind of the same setup as the family dinner, except they probably took like one of the leaves out of the table, so it's not so massive.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people here.
Yeah, there are still a lot of people here, but it's a smaller group than Adakor's entire family. So the table's a little smaller, and the food is like more snack food than meal food. There's like cookies and bread rolls and nuts and cheese and little like meat pies, all kinds of fun stuff. Yep. Yeah, just for Ophelia. There's like apple pastries, like little apple tarts, stuff like that.
A good apple tart.
Yeah, there's some tea. And you get upstairs and you see an older male elf sitting at the table already. He looks about the same age as Despina, Adakor's grandmother, but he has visible signs of some kind of horrific injury. Like basically one half of his body, more so than the other half, has like sort of it's like pockmarked burn scars, like almost like acid got on him or something. And it's like clearly a very old injury, and he seems to be fine. Like he just smiles at all of you and says hello. But it's alarming looking at first glance.
I introduce everyone again.
Okay. So one says, "It's good to meet all of you. At Akora, I didn't know you had so many friends."
Thanks. I make friends wherever I go.
Well, come sit down and eat. We got all this food. We can't eat it all ourselves.
I oblige. I go for the apple tart.
It's so good.
The aim is just to eat and to never talk. So
Okay. Ophelia sits like the farthest away from the grandparents at the table.
yeah, where the bread is.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
on them. They should have.
Just a big old basket of bread. Eleni seems a little bit starstruck by your grandmother.
Sensing weakness, I say. Eleni has been studying at the Cobalt Soul for the past year. She's been studying Malaysmere. I say to my grandmother.
Really? Then you must be Althea's student. Yes, I am. I mean, yes, I'm one of them. I'm the one who agreed to do, well, it's not an exchange. They haven't sent anyone here yet, but the research trip to Reich syndrome, it was very interesting. I was reading, studying accounts of Dwendalian travelers to the ruins of Malaysmere. They had a lot of interesting things to say, and I'm going to compile everything with accounts that we have of the city before the fall. Well, that sounds very interesting. Are you presenting your research at some point? They like keep talking about this.
Yeah, sorry for being the version of yourself again.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, but Despina, is like asking Eleni about her research and stuff, and Eleni like was a little bit. She was like stammering a little bit at the beginning, but she kind of gets into her stride and is, talking. It gets a little more comfortable. And yeah, they talk about that, and then at some point the grandparents are just sort of like, all right, now all of you have to tell us all about yourselves, please.
Have I
I've got this out of the way. I did this already.
No,
Yeah,
you
right? I feel like I've been grilled a little bit, right?
you have, yeah, and you talked about your life so much, especially because there was that awkward interlude where Atakora and Lysander left.
Yes.
And
yeah.
everyone was just like, so Antimony, how's your mother? Like, how are your parents? Tell us about Druvenlode. Like, yeah, so they kind of, and Eleni has sort of given them the rundown already. So they basically just look at Ophelia and Sahar. Sahar has also been eating and just sort of observing, and now looks a little bit like deer in the headlights. And she just kind of looks at Ophelia. Her mouth is full also. She's chewing something and just sort of looks at you, Ophelia, and is like, raises her eyebrows.
I also work at the Soul. Just as a cleric archivist? I don't know. I don't know what my job technically is.
What'd you say, Anna?
Ophelia is the one who got me into adventuring.
Is she really?
Yes.
Says Despina.
Dragged me into it. Wouldn't take no for an answer.
Technically, that was because the Soul just told me to bring someone along.
And what made you pick him?
Friendship?
I wanted to bother him.
He
Yeah.
seems capable.
Insight check.
Okay, make an insight check. Oh man.
20, dirty.
Are you telling the truth, Ophelia? Do you think Adacor is capable?
I guess so, but I'm mostly just saying something to try to, like, answer.
Okay. So yeah, so she is just sort of saying it, but deep down she does believe it. She does like you
Aw.
and think
Ew.
you're capable.
Can I change my answer?
No. Um, yeah, Despina says, we're so glad that he's found something to do with his life. He was always a little. Well, he had a lot of different phases and hobbies and things as a child.
What sorts of hobbies?
Well, there was a time when I thought he might become a ranger like his mother, or even a druid like me. He went through a phase where he was very fond of animals. I couldn't turn into them enough
What was his
to
favorite
satisfy
animal?
him. He liked birds. When you were very small, I would turn into a large dog and you would just ride around on me. I think I was a bear once, but that scared you. She kind of tells the story about him pretending to be animals that you heard the other night. This is clearly like a popular Adakora story. And then for a long time, we couldn't get him to stop climbing things.
I think he can
think
only
that's the one I
barely.
haven't.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
I was about to say, I think you can only barely resist that urge now.
Yeah, I think that's the one I haven't grown out of.
Well, at least you're putting it to some use now, not just falling out of trees.
Well, mostly.
I don't think you've fallen out of a tree yet, so far.
Not when you were looking.
I had to heal a lot of scraped hands, sprained ankles, and things during his adolescence. He liked to sneak up on people too.
I would never. What a lie.
Yeah,
I
you're so
remember
honest and trustworthy and forthright. You would never sneak up on someone in your life.
once he hid behind a door and jumped out at his cousin Nefeli when she was carrying a pitcher of water into a room, about to put it on a table, and she spilled it all over herself. She wouldn't stop crying.
That's pretty rude.
was like, I don't think that should count. I was like 20. That's
You were. There was a time when Melodora complained that you snuck out constantly.
well, she should have caught me.
Well, she was very angry that she couldn't. She suspected you, but you were always too quiet.
Hmm. Told you I could be quiet.
She could never catch him in the act. He wasn't very subtle about it afterwards. He would have leaves in his hair and his clothes would be dirty. But she never caught him leaving or coming back into the house.
What did you even sneak out for?
Why not? There's a lot more to do outside than inside.
Despina laughs. I
Go in the
agree.
woods, collect stuff. I mean, I can tell you.
So you worked at the Cobalt Soul in Rexentrum before Atacora did, is that right?
Yes. By a couple of years, I think.
Are you from the city?
I'm from the south in the coast.
The Menagerie Coast.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. How do you find it in the Empire?
It's cold. But I
Well,
don't
you're
it's all right.
you're here in the coldest part.
This is the coldest. I thought, well, I guess more north isn't really.
Yeah, it's not really the Empire anymore.
I see.
It's just about the farthest north settlement, I think. Major settlement.
Well, it hasn't felt very cold with all of your enchantments and whatnot.
Yes, well, you should have been here before we had those.
My parents were probably not alive.
Probably not. It was well over 200 years ago. 250? She looks at Solon, who kind of nods. I think so. Melidor was about 10 when we left. Yes, this. Yeah, a toddler. The land around Glaesmere was. It was cold there too. It was even farther north, but it was. Well, the forest was large. Everything we needed was there. There was farmland, which we cleared some of the woods for that. And of course, we had the same sort of enchantments we do here, but on a much larger scale. That city was established shortly after the Calamity. So they had centuries before I was born to make it what it was. When we got here, it was just a forest untouched by habitation, and there were very few of us. And many were injured. She kind of looks at Solon. But we managed, as you can see.
Yeah, it's nice here.
How did you end up joining the Cobalt Soul?
Um, I think I just wanted to access to their library. Uh, the best way to do that was to be a part of it.
Well, I can understand that, says Eleni. Despina kind of like looks at you for a second. And she kind of like nods a little bit, and you get the sense that she, yeah, you get the sense that she kind of realizes that you don't want to talk about this in too much detail. And like backs away from that question, or that the topic of your past before the Cobalt Soul. And then she looks at Sahar and said, who is done chewing finally, and is just sort of watching this. Like you could tell she like hasn't really been eating because she's like, I don't want them to look at me when I have my mouth full, and I have to like awkwardly finish chewing before I say something. And yeah, and Despina kind of turns to her and is like, and what about you, Sahar? My grandson said you helped them get through the forest. Yes, that's right. Uh, I was just traveling on my own and ran into them when they were getting attacked by wild boars. So I stepped in to help out. Well, we're certainly glad you were there. And Solon says, that's your sword there. And Sahar kind of left her sword against the wall when she came in. She like took it upstairs and was like, oh shit, when she tried to sit down, and it's just like leaning against the wall now. Um, yes. Yes, I've been studying for a long time. I mean, a long time for me, not a long time for an elf. He just laughs. Um, I was quite a good sword fighter myself in my youth. My lungs aren't what they once were, so I no longer much use on the battlefield, but I still practice as I can to keep my skills up. It's a hard kind of looks like a little more. She's like, oh, a thing I can talk about. And they just like talk about swords for a while, like technique and shit. And yeah, just and Sahar also gets the question from Despina, like, "Oh, where are you from?" Blah blah blah. Sahar gives a slightly different version of events than of her backstory that she told you guys. Not too different. I think she told you that she was from Nogvarot. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, that's what she had told you. And she seemed to know a lot about the city. Like I think you kind of discerned that she was lying. Like she wasn't from there, but she didn't like choke when you asked her questions about it. Like she seemed kind of like she was at least familiar with it. But yeah, she tells Despina, um, I'm from Blade Garden, actually, in the east. My family are all military. That's where I learned to fight. It's where all the Crown's Guard and the army are trained. And Despina sort of nods. Yes, I've heard of it. Yeah, I'm really more of a mercenary, I guess. I mean, not I don't travel with a group or anything, but I'm just sort of a guard for hire.
Was she like honest about Blade Garden?
Make an insight check. Whoever wants to make an insight check can.
Ooh, okay.
How much of that was true?
9.
Ooh, Sahar can roll. Ooh, let's see.
Oh, my insight is actually better than I expected it to be. It's a non-natural 20.
Ooh. If you two said your numbers, I did not hear them.
Just a
I'm
9.
not rolling. Oh, you're not? Okay. Okay, Sahar rolled a 9. What did you get, Ophelia?
9.
You got a 9. Okay, which one wins in this? If it's like a contested check.
Me.
I actually don't know what the protocol is
I don't
for
know. Why
insight checks.
I feel like I should know this. Like if you're rolling a contested ability check. Because I know for like saving throws and armor class, you have to meet the number.
Yeah.
All right, we'll say, Ophelia, it's a little hard to tell. Sahar looks kind of the same as she did like when she was telling you guys all of this, which is like a little uncomfortable. Like Sahar's a bad liar. You're like she's probably lying about some of that. But you can't really tell like if there's some truth in there this time or not.
Mm-hmm.
Antimony, you think that the part about Blade Garden seems true. And she doesn't seem to have like accidentally said it. She has just kind of like decided like, okay, I'm going to say this. And then the rest of it is a lie, pretty much. The part about her family being military is not a lie. Like that, all the stuff about Blade Garden is true, pretty much. About like the little she said about her life in Blade Garden is true. The mercenary part, not so much.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, Despina kind of same thing. She kind of like gives her a discerning look and like backs off the subject. It's like these two do not want to talk about their pasts very much.
Despina's just like, Adakora has so many shady
Yeah,
friends.
yeah, and I think I don't have stats for her, but like her insight is probably so high. She's just like, I can tell they're not like, they're not like maliciously keeping secrets.
Yeah.
They just have like things they don't want to talk about, like they just don't. They have some painful shit that they don't want to talk about, basically.
I like people who don't keep it 100 with me.
She's like, they're young. They don't have to tell their friend's grandmother all of their secrets. Like, it's fine. You did? Wow, yeah, I'm impressed. God, you're all keeping so many secrets.
They're fun and exciting.
But yeah, it's just kind of the conversation, goes in various directions, whatever you guys feel like talking about. I don't know if anyone wants to say anything in particular.
We ask Eleni how her stuff is doing, and she like goes on a 13-hour.
Yeah, Eleni, yeah. I mean, she got a lot of it out of her system at the beginning, actually. Unfortunately, like she's already discussed her research in quite a bit of depth.
Wow.
But I mean, if somebody picks up a different subject that she's interested in, she can also talk for a while. But yeah, it's nice. There's a lot of snacks. Those of you who don't want to talk too much are sort of left alone after the initial
grilling.
Yeah, the initial grilling.
I feel like I would probably ask them questions about the enchantments on like the street and things, just because I'm interested in that sort of thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think they were, adults when Malaismere fell, so they have like very clear memories of the founding of the city and all of that. And neither of them are like into architecture or engineering really, but of course, like it was something everyone was kind of working on. And I think, yeah, druids have like stone related magic. Like she probably used, stone shape and shit like that to like move rock around, like they had, I think all of the magic users were probably helping out in some way. So yeah, she talks about that a little bit, about like the different schools of magic and also like engineering and architecture and craftspeople all working together to build the city.
I'm just gonna have to move to Visayas Teal if I want to do civil engineering. It's fine.
Right. Yeah, and Solon will tell you like the story of how he got his injuries, because he's like, everyone always wants to know. Like everyone's too polite to ask me, but they want to know. It's kind of
Hell yeah.
his policy at this point in his life. So yeah, he basically just kind of explains how he like talks about the fall of Malaismere a little bit, and about how he got like caught in the sort of like horrible, noxious, acidic fumes while he was trying to, and he was like a city guard at the time. He talks about that a little bit. And yeah, he got caught in it a little when everybody was escaping. And he's like, but yeah, they will pretty much tell you anything about their lives. And they're very interesting people. They've lived a long time.
Yeah, it's like interesting grandparents, but multiplying the lifespan by so long.
Yeah, it's like yeah, interesting, but they're pushing 600.
Every time I see an elf that looks physically old, I'm always like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it's like,
How
oh
old are they?
shit. They're so old.
Yeah. And I know some of their best stories, so I will also
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
get some of those. But
I think you have probably heard like probably all of the stories that they're telling just because they spent so much time telling you stories in your childhood in like the 60 years that you lived in Visayas Teal. They might have some stories about like their kids that you don't know, like embarrassing stories about your mom.
that'd be fun. Get home and be like, "Hey, mom, I can brighten your day." That's what Grandma and Grandpa told me.
Oh man. Yeah, one time she got really mad at Metanira for some reason. They were like pretty close as children, but they also fought all the time, I think. Or like argued all the time because they both had very strong personalities. Um, and one time Melidor was so mad at her that she snuck into Metanira's room when she was asleep and poured pine sap all over her hair and it stuck to her pillowcase. And
No.
she just woke up and the whole pillow was stuck to her, like her braids.
Oh.
They had to like cut a lot of her hair off. It was a mess.
That's bad. Mom. That's really bad. I'm so excited.
Yeah. When someone laughs too hard, he starts coughing, like all of that. But yeah, you guys are there for, I don't know, a few hours probably, just talking, eating all the snacks, drinking tea.
And sometimes I look at Adokura and ask him in his mind if we're ready to go or not.
God.
I ignore this until we are ready to go.
How many times can you do that in a day?
Unlimited. I
Really?
can just telepathically talk to people as I please.
Oh my God. Why did I let you take that feat?
For fun.
Okay, it's just the like detect thoughts spell
Yeah.
that you have some limit on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
once a
you
day.
can't read my brain. A
No, I
million
can
times
just
a
talk at
day.
you.
It's once a day plus your spell slots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ignore for a while and then eventually after. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's mid-afternoon or something.
Mm-hmm. Whoops, I didn't mean to close that tab. Yeah, you guys, yeah, the food is mostly drank and eaten, and you feel ready to leave. You're all in like a good mood. You're very full. It was nice. After this morning, you feel a lot better. It was kind of a shitty morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, you say your goodbyes, and the old folks get up to see you out.
That was pleasant.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad, was it? Sahar kind of elbows you.
It was acceptable.
Well,
It's
good,
not.
because you'll probably see more of them.
What? Why?
You've gotten the hard part of it. Now we can just stop by and eat.
Oh, I guess so, but when they want to talk more,
We're very chatty people.
I mean, they've got centuries worth of stories, don't they?
I think they'll probably do most of the talking, and you can just eat the bread.
that's true. Okay. I suppose that is acceptable.
They're very interesting people, says Eleni. I feel like I could talk to them forever.
You would be evenly matched.
She laughs. She takes this pretty good naturedly. um,
Were you trying to be mean to her?
No.
okay.
One day, Ophelia, you're gonna make a friend who actually finds mean stuff hurtful.
You're right. Or like isn't giving everyone the benefit of the doubt all the time.
Well,
Like
they
if you
don't
were
have
really
to.
mean to Eleni, she would notice probably, but
Yeah. Well, they don't have to. They don't have to stay my friend. That's okay. They can just leave. It's not like we're on a boat or something. We're leaving is impossible. I mean, it's not super
How bad
impossible.
do you want us to ask about the boat?
I know that
I
was
don't
yeah.
want you to ask.
Eleni asks you, Ophelia, how did you end up at the Cobalt Soul in Rexendrum? I thought there was one in Port Damali.
I just transferred to get a different experience.
Oh. Guess you liked it better here, huh?
Well, they're like equal, I guess. Here, there's more clerical stuff. It's a little bit of a different focus than the Port Damali archive. There's just like they have a lot more regarding. There's a lot more to work with regarding like the Concord and the like mass amounts of like trade that goes on there. Here it's not so busy.
Well, I mean, I guess this is just me growing up in Visayas Teal, but it's hard to imagine a city with more going on than Rexentrum, especially trade. But I suppose Port Damali is on the coast. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh, I'd like to go there one day.
there's like there's a big deal out of our flying airships and the trade between the other continents in here. I think it's the only one on Exandria that has an airship port.
Really? They have an airship port in Port Tamale.
Mm-hmm.
We should go to Port Damali.
I don't want to go to Port Molly.
That could take. Yes, the Empire doesn't have them.
Yeah,
I
they
think I knew
go.
that.
Yeah, I think they. It's pretty expensive though. It's like, I would say like maybe 500 plus gold to get a trip there to Taldore.
Wow, Taldore. I don't know anything about Taldore.
I know stuff. What do I know?
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I don't know if, I wonder if you've been to Taldor. Probably not because you guys were
No.
like, marauding the coast. But you've definitely met people from Taldor, that's for sure. They don't seem that different from people on the Menagerie Coast, really. Like they have, um, I don't know, the culture's a little bit different. And Taldor is really big, is the thing. It's more like empire level, like Dwendalian Empire level when it comes to size and like um variation of ecology and things.
Is it the same size as the Empire's land, or is it?
I don't know. I would have to look at the two maps. But Taldori is like most of that continent. It might be the whole continent.
Yeah, I thought. Well,
But
I
I
don't know
think
what the continent is. I thought Taldore was the continent like Wildmount or whatever.
Wildmount is also yeah, because there's the continent that Vasselheim is on, which I don't remember the name of it. And then there's Taldori, which is kind of just its own, I assume, smaller continent. I feel like Wildmount has to be bigger than Taldori.
Yeah, maybe.
And the Dwendalian Empire takes up most of Wildmount, or like not most, but the biggest chunk of Wildmount out of all the different societies in Wildmount. But there's a lot of other places, so I assume Taldori is like maybe a little bigger than the Empire, but not as big as all of Wildmount. But that's just what it is like in my brain. I don't know how big it is actually. But yeah, you know that it's large. They used to have a king, but the king was killed, I don't know, 20 years ago, something like that. They had some trouble with dragons. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was imagining.
Yeah, I think Wildmount is just bigger than
Yeah.
Taldor.
They look almost connected.
Yeah, they are almost connected up north. Yeah, so a lot of different people, different kinds of people living in Taldore. And you know that once they defeated the dragons, they've been kind of rebuilding since then. Like it's been a long process, but they're doing pretty well now, and they actually have a republic, which is unique in all of um, at least these two continents.
I share this choppily with Eleni.
Okay. Eleni is fascinated. Really, they have a council of elected officials. I suppose the Ring of Three was a little like that before we became part of the Empire.
Oh yeah?
Yes, well, I don't know how it works in Taldore, but the Ring of Three are still chosen by the people. Not really everyone, but various elders. there are a lot of meetings and things. You have to have a certain amount of support to be on the council.
Well, maybe it'll return that way eventually.
Oh, maybe. At some point, Eleni like goes back to her house. She'll walk part of the way with you, which is like kind of out of her way. Like she has to go the long way back home. But she just like gets caught up in talking to you guys, and then is finally like, "Oh, I have to go. I'm going the wrong direction." She waves to you all and heads off.
I think that was like how I recruited you. I was like, there's airships and cool stuff at the Tamale archive. And yet you've been here ever since. For like the 3 weeks you've been here.
Things keep happening to us. We haven't had a chance to grow yet.
I'm sure it will come.
And you can get to Port Damali pretty quick if you convince the monk to let you use the teleportation circle.
That's true.
But we're cool and we're here, so you don't want to go. I understand.
Okay, so you guys head back to Melidora's house, or do you want to do anything else?
I don't know. I suppose we're. I don't have any pressing ideas for what we could do.
We could go back, I guess.
I have a list of things to do, but I don't think any of them. The only thing I think we could do right now is like try to follow up with Evander or Ithra, but it might be a bit soon to push our
Yeah,
luck with that.
we might want to give Evander a night to kind of cry or something. I don't know.
Are you guys like saying this out loud to each other in character?
I will suggest, I'll say, do we want to follow up with Evander or Ithra? I'll say that.
In front of Sahar, we're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Sahar's
Where does
there.
he go?
She's there. You are welcome to talk about it in front of her, but she is
No,
with
I'm
you.
not. That's a good point.
I was like, do you guys just forget that Sahara's there and talk in front of her? Because that would be funny.
I mean,
Sahar's like, who?
Yeah, sorry, were you who? I thought you didn't know anyone else in this town. I thought you weren't doing anything yesterday. I'm just waiting for you guys to slip up like the Mighty Nine did with Dagon.
God.
And they were like,
None of us have
Oh.
modified memory. We can't afford that.
God, that was the funniest shit ever. He was like, they were like, do you want us to erase your memory? And he was like, please, get it out. I do not want to know.
Well, we can go back and reveal my new trick.
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah.
What's your new trick?
I can cast Sending now.
The spell that you've been complaining about not having?
Yeah.
Nice. So you just how does it work? Does Ayun just tell you things in your sleep? This has been bothering me for a
Oh
while.
my god. What, you mean like how do I learn spells?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like know about all the spells because Ayun told them to me, but I can only access a few every day. Or else Ayun's gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing abusing my power like this, you piece of shit? And then she like
So theoretically you could have done this spell the whole time.
No, because you have to like get stronger and like some spells are just more difficult to cast than others, and also Ayun doesn't like trust me as much in the early stages, but now she trusts me like one level more.
Mhm.
She's like, okay, I give you permission to go and talk to anybody you want for 25 words at a time, and you can do this twice now.
Okay. So it's like completely up to her.
Yes. Or some other deity, depending on when they want to say you can level up.
Lyrics are weird.
That's a biased opinion.
I mean, like imagine that I went to sleep and I just woke up with another knife.
I mean, you
essentially-
sometimes you
that's
go to sleep
essentially
and
your
wake
life.
up better at dodging.
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
doesn't
it's not
necessarily
that
know
weird.
No, he doesn't.
that.
I just feel faster now.
So do we like want to go talk to people or
We don't want to talk about talking to people. We don't want to talk about talking to people in front of Sahar. Is what we don't want to do.
we don't want to talk about any people?
Well, what other people?
We could talk to people from previous adventures.
Oh, you're still talking about sending. Right.
So you could talk to anyone, anywhere. Anytime.
Probably. Yeah. I could talk to Torkel right now, but he doesn't deserve my patronage, so.
Remind me who Torkel is.
Some guy. At the
Sahara, like,
soul.
oh, okay.
How do you know that Torquil didn't ask Ayun the spell?
Because that would be kind of fucked up if he didn't do it earlier. After complaining for like 3 days about all his wasted spell slots. I mean, I guess he could have, but like, I don't need some guy to pray for me to like try to make me better. I'm
But
already
he's
getting
your
better.
mentor. That's like his job.
His job is to teach me. His job isn't to like pray for me. You could say I've been teaching myself for the past couple of weeks because there's been no support here except for like a little bit.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's his job to pray for you. God. I use
Didn't
just
mean
like
to insult your ability to learn spells. I'll throw that out there.
Pardon?
I didn't mean to insult your ability to learn spells on your own with Ayun.
Okay, thank you. I could have been a wizard if I were smarter. If Ayun didn't show me the way.
can't anybody be a wizard? You just have to like go to school, right? Says Sahar.
Yeah. You have to like learn stuff. You can only be a wizard if you're like smart enough, because I'm pretty sure other people just get bored of all the like circles you have to make.
Yeah, I think that would happen to me.
Yeah, it is a lot of circles.
And you have to like read books and you have to buy like paper, and that like takes up like 99% of your wallet there. I mean, Ayun just like asked me like, "Hey, do you want to follow me?" And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "Free of charge, I'll give you spells and wisdom." So, I mean, I think following a god is the better option here instead of just following your meager mortal brain.
Well, don't say that too loud. I think there's a lot of wizards here.
They could do with a little bit of kicking down.
I didn't know you hated wizards so much.
Everybody is worthy of content.
You can also just not learn spells. That's a viable option.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can put your practice into being sneaky and learning to, you know, be stealthy and then like get stuck in windows, I guess. Like somehow I don't think learning to be a rogue is like a very good option if you're just gonna fail at it anyway. Spells can actually do something.
You get stuck in a window?
I mean, it's possible. I saw Adakora like 3 weeks ago get stuck in a door.
Well, he is very tall.
Yeah. His like
Trying really hard not to laugh.
his thick leather jacket or whatever that he like crows about all day, it got stuck in the door frame, and then he tried to pull it out because he's like, I'm a stealthy rogue, I can deal with this on my own, and he couldn't. So you know, rogues are just as bad. And then artificers, the thing about artificers is that they're perfect. So
It's true.
Wow, you've really put some thought into this, huh?
Yes.
If I pray to Ayun the next time I get stuck in a door, give me a spell.
No. You need to want to follow Ayun for more than just convenience's sake. Like, if you're like, Ayun, I love you, can you help me out of this pickle? And if you're just gonna be like, okay, thanks, bye, I'm gonna go like practice being stealthy again or whatever and pray to my like super secret stealth god, which doesn't even exist by the way, Ayun would see through that shit like immediately.
Yeah, I guess. The knowing mistress.
Exactly.
Probably pretty hard to lie to. Doesn't mean you
Precisely.
shouldn't try.
No, I think she just would
I
know
mean, I
if you're
think it's
lying.
always worth a shot. If you're stuck in a door, just take every chance you've got.
If okay, if you're going to try to trick a god, you should maybe pick like not Ayun. Maybe you should pick the Wild Mother. She's very trusting. Or
Cord kind of seems like a meathead. Maybe go for Cord.
for
Not if you
who?
want to stay out of jail.
We're getting so smited. If this
It's what we
conversation-
deserve.
Okay, you go back to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After pissing all the gods that we can think of.
Yeah. Which was not a lot of gods.
No, I'm not very religious.
Yeah, do you guys want to do anything? I don't have a ton of things for this like period of the day.
Hold on, I need more water.
I'll be honest, you got through my mystery pretty quick.
We did it kind of accidentally, but
Yep.
Well, we didn't mean to get through it quick. So I was just getting water, so I don't know what everybody else said. We didn't mean to get through it quick, but then I failed at everything, and then I was the only one alive.
Yep, that did happen.
So
Sure happened.
kind of forced things to Whoops. That's why next time I get stuck in a door, I'm gonna pray to Ayun. See what happens.
Why don't you pray to Pelor?
I didn't know Pelor existed until you said that.
You work in a library. He's one of the accepted gods in the Empire, and you don't you didn't know him? What about the Raven Queen?
She's the goth one. Yeah.
Oh my god. The Raven Queen's listening and she's like, you're not wrong. I do have a pool of blood as a temple over in Vasselheim.
I just don't really pay attention to gods in general. It's kind of out of my wheelhouse.
I
Yeah,
mean,
me
I
too,
guess.
says Sahar.
You're kind of living your life a little bit wrong, but I guess.
Your judgy religious friend. It's Ophelia.
After lying to basically everyone about everything, I gotta like rep my god somehow. I want her to love me.
You could take a shot at reforming me. I'm not saying it would work.
What do you need to be reformed from? Oh yeah, your godless life.
Total heathen.
Well, you can't be completely useless because you know that Ayun is now a person to ask for help if you get stuck in a door, like a nerd.
You advised me against that, but
Well, with your track record, it's gonna happen again, and by then you might like actually believe in her enough to change into a cleric, so.
how do you define belief? Like, I believe the gods are real and they do shit because you just got a new spell. Not that you've proved that you have this spell. Um,
And I never will.
God.
I can't believe we solved the mystery so fast.
I mean, I
We're
have
gonna.
stuff for you guys to do, but it's like social shit. So everything I have planned for this session is talking.
everything I have planned is talking. Everything on my to-do list. Well, that's not quite true, but coming from one stage can activate my plan.